Ready to stop spinning your wheels and start moving your business forward? You're in the right place. On each episode of Accelerate to Achieve, we'll discuss a crucial step in the journey, offering tips and advice that you can apply immediately within your own company. From financial management to customer success to digital transformation, we'll cover it all while providing leadership lessons from top industry insiders. In just 15 minutes, you'll be inspired to build momentum through action and achieve incredible results. Welcome to Accelerate to Achieve, the podcast that moves you from question to answer and idea to execution. Hello, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Accelerate to Achieve podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Walter, the founder of Parrels Advisory. Now, the Boy Scouts aren't the only ones who should be saying, keep prepared. In fact, if you're not setting the groundwork, it can have a negative impact on your business and personal life. Joining us today is someone who has advised many companies and individuals on just this topic, ensuring they are operating from a stable foundation. Now, I am thrilled to be joined by Shana Jones-McGrone, and she's the founder and managing attorney of Artisan Law. Artisan Law is a client-focused law firm specializing in business and intellectual property law, as well as estate planning. With a passion for developing close, professional relationships built on communication and trust, she helps her clients build and protect their legacy. Shana, thank you so much for joining us today.
Ryan, thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be here talking with you. Your podcast is amazing, so I'm so excited to join those ranks and just happy to be talking about this topic.
Well, we're already off to a great start, so thank you. We could probably just finish it there. I would like to start, though, on something kind of bringing two of the things together I talked about, sort of the business and personal side. And often we see these as maybe two sides of the coin, but I think often it's more interconnected than we realize. Why is that?
Well, I really am going to take that from a bit of a philosophical and a spiritual standpoint, and really look at the interconnectedness of life. A lot of spiritual teachers will say that there really is no difference between you and I and everything else. It's all connected, right? So that's a pretty large, overarching concept, but I'm going to bring it down and make it a little bit more granular. The old paradigm is that you have this work life and you have this home life. And many people have tried to work within that paradigm, and maybe for a time it did work. But I think what we've been seeing over the past couple of decades, and certainly with the COVID-19 pandemic, is that those curtains have really come down. So previously, let's take women mothers, for example. You'll have working mothers, whether high-powered, running companies, being entrepreneurs, and also running their households. And what happens with their kids, their husband's schedules, those commitments influence what happens in their schedules with their job or their business, and vice versa. So I don't think it's ever really been as separated as we think it is. And I think that that's happening for men now more so also, as men take on more responsibilities at home, or more men do that. In addition, COVID has sped that up, because for many people, their home has become their business space. So when you're physically in the space that you live in and you're conducting your business, everything really is connected. You really are in the same place all the time, and you have to manage both things simultaneously. So, one of the ways to really try to move that forward in a harmonious fashion is to stop thinking of them as being so completely separate, and that they have to be so completely separate. How can you harmonize them? How can you have a proper foundation in your home life? How can you have a proper foundation in your business life? I'm one of those people that really believes how you do anything is how you do everything. The cracks that are in one area of your life in some way are going to manifest themselves in other areas of your life. And as you shore up a foundation on one side, you're able to move that understanding, that learning, that knowledge up to shore it up on the other side as well.
I think that's really interesting. I kind of take from that, we all share that same thing of time between both. It's not like we can get one kind of time and another kind of time. It's all pulling from the same 24 hours in a day. And it's not like, choosing between beer and wine. It's either all beer or all wine, depending on how you look at it for time. So I'd love to jump into that foundation you talked about,
Mhm.
and the core areas people probably should be addressing, maybe they're not, that you see both on the personal and professional side. What are your thoughts there?
Absolutely. So let me start with the business side first. So I've had the pleasure of working with entrepreneurs and creatives to help them to start their businesses, grow and scale their businesses, and also, for business succession planning. But talking about the startup and the growth side, what I have seen from my experience in working with entrepreneurs and also being an attorney entrepreneur myself is that there are really four core areas that a business needs to have a solid foundation in order for the business owner to have the confidence really to move forward and accomplish their ultimate dream. And those four core pillars are: you need to have a solid legal foundation, meaning, is your business entity set up correctly and is it the proper entity for what you're looking to accomplish? Do you have core contracts in place? Have you protected your intellectual property? We're looking also at insurance. Do you have the right types and levels of insurance so that you are protected? And if something does go wrong, if some risk arises, comes to the forefront that is not able to be managed on the planning side, do you have that risk protection in place, that insurance in place to shore you up? So next we're looking at finances. Do you know what's going on with your money? Be amazed at how many business owners I talk to who don't have a firm grasp on their numbers. They're scared to look at their numbers. They're not running reports. They don't know how much is going out. Really, they don't know how much is coming in. There's an estimation. And we're just hoping that, well, as long as I can cover the bills, everything's okay. And on your tax side, are you doing real tax planning? Are you using the benefit that you should have from your legal entity to the fullest extent possible? So you really need to have those four things, working together in order to have a business that is doing for you what it's supposed to do. A business entity is so powerful because it provides levels of protection, right? Liability protection. It's this separate entity aside from you that you need to build up so that it can take you to the next level of success that you're looking for. So as you see that on the business side, you also look at it and you see it on the personal side. You know, Personally, let's look at self-care, right? A lot of these things that I talk about with your business are business care. So many of us will see on the personal side, are you engaging in the level of self-care that you need to keep yourself together? Are you eating the ways that you need to? Are you exercising, taking some time out to relax and be creative? On the insurance side, do you have things in place like your personal life insurance and certain other types of protection? Do you know what's going on with your money personally? Same thing with your finances. And have you dealt with your taxes in an appropriate fashion? So you still see this bleed, right? You see this bleed over to the personal, to the professional. Generally, I've seen if someone is awry on the personal side, the business might be a little wonky and vice versa. And if you show up on one of those sides, so you show up on the business side, you're going to have that personal side together in order to keep it going, in order to be on one accord.
No, and that's great. And I appreciate, how much you kind of laid that out really clearly, particularly with the four areas. within the business space. And obviously that, as we keep saying, that kind of interrelationship that probably if you're a little askew on the personal side, we might see similar kind of leaning on the professional side or the business side.
Hmm.
Where do you see either misconceptions or misunderstandings often happening where either people think about something the wrong way, don't maybe underestimate it, or you name it? Where do they commonly make those mistakes?
Yes. So, I'll say this up front. Business owners, whether you are in a product based business or a service based business, are concerned with creating that product or service and bringing in the revenue for that, for what you provide. That's exceptionally reasonable. When you go into business, you should go into it looking to make money, make a profit, take yourself to another level. And of course, if you're on the nonprofit side, you're looking to accomplish that social goal for which you created the entity for. They're not necessarily thinking about, um, is this contract what I need it to be? No, they're thinking about, can I get this contract out to my vendor so it can get signed and I can move on to what I need to? Can I file with the state quickly enough for the entity um, to move forward what I'm looking to do? You know, did I get the accountant at the last minute just to get the taxes paid, right? And so the misconception is that by not engaging in the planning, or that by engaging in the planning, let me say it this way, by engaging in the planning up front, you're taking time away from the ultimate thing that's going to produce you revenue. And and what I would encourage people to do is really have that shift in mentality, because the upfront planning and taking care of the foundation leaves your mind free to focus on what you should be focusing on in your business, which is producing an excellent product or service and receiving the requisite revenue that you need for that product or service. It also leaves you in a position to be ready for amazing opportunities. So, as a salient example, let's say that a business is looking to be funded. Maybe they're looking for some form of an angel investor. They're looking for some capital investment, um, joint venture, or something of that nature. Oftentimes, what's going to happen, I shouldn't say oftentimes, what is always going to happen when you're looking for some form of funding, even if you're looking for a loan, is that person that you're trying to, or entity that you're trying to receive money from, is going to look, really under the hood. They're going to want to see what's going on with you. They're going to want to see that you have proper procedures in place, that you've been set up correctly, you're properly capitalized, you know how to track your money, you've protected your intellectual property. And when you don't have those things in place and the critical moment comes, you leave yourself open to not being able to make the deal at all, or at least on the better side, slowing down the deal and having to go back and really kind of do your setup from the back end and put things in place and spend more time and money to reconstruct things on the later side that could have been set up initially on the planning side. So, the thought is that, I'm moving toward the goal faster if I don't put the foundation in place. When really at some point you're going to have to come back and deal with that foundation and then end up oftentimes investing more time, more money into something on the back end when you could have just set it up properly.
You've given us so much to think about here. And I think, not being an expert, though, hearing enough, I think we're just scratching the surface. So as we head out and we look at someone who may not have done anything with
Hmm.
their business in this space and says, I do, but man, we just scratched the surface and this seems like a lot of work. I don't even know where to start. What
Yeah.
advice would you give them on where to start?
Yeah. So, there's a couple of things that I would say. You know, First and foremost, I'm going to say some practical things, and then of course I'm going to talk with you about how to contact me. One of the main things that you're going to want to do with your business, whether you are at the startup phase or whether you're in a position where you've been around for a little bit and now you're looking to create a foundation, is you're always going to want to go back to your goal and what are you looking to accomplish. And then you're also going to want to sit down and look at what your current state of your foundation is. And it's enough to say, I don't even really know what it is. But most of the time you do. You know if you're really using agreements. You know if you've complied with, the state yearly reporting for your entity, how you're filing your taxes, if you even have insurance. You know where you are. And be okay with sitting where you are, right? Everyone starts someplace, and just acknowledging where you are and looking to make a difference is an amazing thing. There are business owners who go through years, sometimes get to multi-million-dollar companies and still aren't, haven't put a proper foundation in. So doing as much as you can to understand where you are and then really looking to, a professional to help you put those things in place. We specialize in things for a reason. You become an attorney or an accountant or an insurance professional for a reason, because you have a level of expertise that you can provide to a client to help them in a way that they don't know and don't need to know. I'm an attorney, I'm not a marketer. So I'm going to want to bring in a marketing expert when I need help on that. Right. And so you're going to want to start to have a cadre of trusted professionals in order to help you move to the next level. When I work with clients on my LIFT program, and if they're an already established business, we do a LIFT audit, so legal, insurance, financial, and tax, an audit for your business. And I look at your systems in all of those areas. And then we create a strategic plan where we see holes to help you shore up those holes. There are areas in which, of course, I specialize in working to make sure that clients move those areas forward. And then I help to look at, for example, I'm not an insurance agent, but I can generally eyeball and tell you what types of insurance that you need. And where I am unable to provide you that expert advice, we work to bring in other experts to help make sure that you get what you need on a strategic basis, on a timeline that you can work with. Because we all know that sometimes change comes slow. You don't need to do everything at one time. You need to make sure that you can handle the changes as you move forward and have the systems in place for you to build upon. So start with looking at what your goals are and assessing for yourself an internal assessment of what is actually going on with your business. And then when you're ready to move forward with getting that foundation in place, whether you've been in business or you're looking to start your business and have that proper foundation, then of course, reach out to me. And I'm more than happy to sit with you for a complimentary consultation and see how we can move you forward on getting the foundation that's going to help you soar.
Well, Shana, firstly, we're going to be including in the show notes your contact information for those who do want to reach out, and it'll be in all our formats. Secondly, I just want to thank you for sharing some really important information with the audience. There is so much just packed in to this short period of time, and we can obviously see why expertise is needed. And I just, again, really appreciate you taking the time today to pass along some just wonderful and insightful information.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. And as you said, we just scratched the surface. And the point is just to go as deep as possible to really hone it in and make sure your business is doing what you need it to do to achieve your goals.
We're constantly under a barrage of work that needs to be done today. It's easy to then put off something until tomorrow that may not have an immediate deadline. The problem, though, when we do this, is that we find ourselves in situations where there just isn't enough duct tape to patch the hole. Thank you for listening today. I look forward to joining you on the next episode. Until then, I'm Ryan Walter. And remember that solving your biggest business problem begins when you decide to accelerate your approach and achieve more. At Parrels Advisory, our focus is your business's future. Having the right insight, experience, and perspective makes all the difference when tackling far-reaching issues within your company. We are here to simplify the steps, unlock your potential, and move you forward, making your vision a reality. We've helped startups achieve massive growth, mid-sized businesses navigate digital transformation, and enterprises embrace innovation. Wondering how to jumpstart your business and move it forward? Contact us to discuss your audacious goals during a complimentary consultation.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Accelerate to Achieve. If you're enjoying the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review wherever you listen. Got a question, feedback on the program, or interested in being a guest? Simply go to parrels.co/A2A-podcast and send us a message. To learn more about our work or to book a consultation, visit us at parrels.co/contact. Until next time, remember that solving your biggest business problems begin when you decide to accelerate your approach and achieve more.